Hello everyone, I hope you all are fine and healthy. Today we are going to start our new chapter, chapter number 12, Reproduction in Plants. So first of all, let us understand the meaning of the word reproduction. The production of new organisms from the existing organisms of same species, or we can say same type, is known as reproduction. Or we can define reproduction as the production of new organisms from their parents. The most important characteristic of living organisms is they can reproduce, or we can say they can produce more members of their species. Like, which are the living organisms? All the plants and animals. They can produce more members of their same kind. Human beings reproduce and give birth to babies. Similarly, the plants also reproduce to form new plants either from their part or from their seeds. In this chapter, we will learn about the reproduction of plants only. There are different methods, or we can say different modes of reproduction in plants, but they all can be categorized into two types, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Now, for understanding these two terms better, we should know the meaning of the word gametes. Gametes are the special cells which are involved or which are used in the sexual reproduction. They are the reproductive cells which are also known as sex cells. Now, gametes are of two types, that is male gametes or female gametes. They are also known as male sex cells and female sex cells. The production of new plants from the existing plants without the involvement, or we can say without the use of gametes or the sex cells, is known as asexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, the gametes, or we can say the sex cells, they are not required. So in the asexual reproduction, there is no fusion of gametes, or we can say the combination of gametes does not take place, and there are no seeds formed. So in asexual reproduction, the new plants are obtained or produced from the existing plants without the use of the seeds. Some of the plants which can be produced by the method of asexual reproduction, or we can say without the use of the seeds, are rose, potato, ginger, dahlia, sweet potato, etc. Now, the production of new plants from the existing plants by the fusion, or we can say by the combination of gametes, that are also known as sex cells. It is known as sexual reproduction. The fusion, or we can say the combination of male sex cells and female sex cells, it gives rise to the formation of seeds, and these seeds can germinate to form a new plant. So in sexual reproduction, the new plants are obtained, or we can say produced, from the existing plants by the use of seeds. Most of the flowering plants, they reproduce by the method of sexual reproduction. Some of the plants which can reproduce by sexual reproduction are wheat, maize, paddy, gram, etc. So the basic difference between asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction is that in asexual reproduction, the new plants are produced without the use of seeds, whereas in sexual reproduction, the new plants are produced from the seeds. Now we will learn about asexual reproduction in detail. The new plants that are obtained by the method of asexual reproduction, they are similar, or we can say they are identical to the parent plant. Now the asexual reproduction can take place by the four methods, that are vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation, and spore formation. So these are the four methods by which asexual reproduction can take place. So before learning about these four terms, we should know the meaning of three terms that are node, axil and bud. Node is a point on the stem, or we can say the branch of a plant where a leaf is attached. Axil is the upper angle between the leaf stalk and the stem, or we can say the branch from which it is growing. The upper angle between the leaf stalk and the stem or the branch, it is known as axil. Bud is a knob-like undeveloped shoot consisting of a short stem and overlapping leaves. You might have seen the flower buds. Now the buds are also present in the axil part also, means they are also present between the leaf stalk and the stem. The buds that are present in the axil of a plant, they are known as axillary bud, or we can say vegetative bud. And these buds can give rise to a new plant. Vegetative propagation. It is an asexual method of reproduction in plants in which new plants can be produced from the parts of the old plants like stem, roots or leaves. It is also known as vegetative reproduction. Some plants which are generally reproduced by vegetative propagation are rose, potato, ginger, sugarcane, bryophyllum, cactus, grapes. The vegetative propagation generally involves the growth of buds on the old part of a plant which can produce a new plant. Vegetative propagation can take place from the parts of the plant such as stems, roots and leaves. So first of all, we will learn about vegetative propagation by stems. The stems or branches of the plants generally have buds in their axial part which can be used for the vegetative propagation. The new plant can be produced from the stem or branch of the existing plant by the method of cutting. So what is cutting? A small part of a stem or a branch of a plant which is cut using a sharp knife is known as cutting, and the cutting should have buds on it. The lower part of the stem cutting, or we can say the lower end, is buried into the soil and the upper end is kept above the soil, and this cutting is watered regularly. After few days, the roots starts growing from the cutting and the buds grow into shoot. Shoot means the branches with leaves. Plants like rose, champa, sugarcane, grapes, etc. They can be grown by the method of using stem cutting or branch cutting. The advantage of this cutting method is that we can produce a large number of plants, or we can say many plants, from just one plant without waiting for the flowers or the seeds. Some plants have modified stems which are thick and they grow below the ground, and these stems have buds on them from which the new plants can be grown, and these underground stems are known as stem tubers. A tuber is a thickened underground stem of a plant which is swollen with the stored food. The tuber has number of buds on it. Each bud of the tuber can grow into a new plant when the old tuber or its cutting is planted in the soil. A potato tuber has many buds on it, or that are also known as eyes on its body, and these eyes or the buds, they appear like scars. When a potato tuber is planted in the soil, then all the buds that are present on the potato tuber, they starts growing into a new potato plant. We can even plant the cut pieces of potato to obtain the new potato plants, but the cut pieces of potato should have a bud on them. the ginger and the turmeric, they can also be grown like the potato. Now we will learn about vegetative propagation by roots. There are some plants which have modified thickened roots which have buds on them. For example, the sweet potato. It is having modified thickened root which is having food stored in it. Like the sweet potato plant, it is having modified thickened root with the stored food that are known as root tubers. The root tubers have buds or eyes on them. The sweet potato plants are reproduced by the root tubers that are having buds on them. The Dahlia plant is also having buds on their root tubers, so it can also be produced by the same method. Now the last is vegetative propagation by leaves. The leaves of some plants develop buds on them. Like for example, the bryophyllum plant. Its leaves are having buds on their edges. When a mature leaf of bryophyllum plant falls on the ground, then each bud can grow into new plant. The plants such as cacti is the plural of cactus. They produces new plants when their body parts get detached or removed from their body and they falls on the ground. Each detached part or each removed part of a cactus plant can grow into a new plant. The new plants that are grown using the vegetative propagation, they takes much less time to grow and to bear flowers and fruits as compared to the plants that are grown using the seeds. And the new plants that are grown using vegetative propagation, they are exactly similar to the parent plant. So that's it, students. We will continue our chapter in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Take care.